Hello and welcome to Innov'Nation. I'm your host, Lynn Plagmeijer, and thank you for joining. Today, is technology already changing lives from the crib and even before? Baby tech is here, but first, our headlines. From the highest IVF rate per capita to post-mortem sperm retrieval of fallen soldiers. Israel is breaking ground in the baby tech scene, but with this comes ethical implications. We'll break it down for you. The FDA has just greenlighted Israeli company Pulsenmore's ultrasound scans from home, a revolutionary device that can be used in the most remote areas. And have your best baby. This American IVF company is blasting advertisements all over the New York subway, promising smart, tall designer babies. Even the eye color you can pick. Now, Israel has the highest IVF rate per capita in the world and offers state-funded IVF for women up to 45. Non-medical sex selection is allowed, as well as post-mortem sperm retrieval of fallen soldiers. This makes Israel not just a hub for innovation, but also a live ethical laboratory. For more on this, I'm now joined by Dr. Shirley Saar, Head of Innovation at Schneider Children's Medical Center, which is the only pediatric innovation hub here in Israel, focusing on startups and health tech companies to develop, validate, and pilot technology. Dr. Shirley Saar, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Your Schneider focuses more on the pediatric tech scene. So what do you think is the most important thing that's going on right now?
Well, the most exciting thing is timing. With everything that's happening with the new data analysis and AI abilities and the new advanced therapies, genetic therapies, it really opened a window of this childhood window, making pet tech the scene where we can really not only cure today's children, but actually create the future's healthy adults. So it's a very exciting time to lead this ecosystem.
And what are you working on right now at Schneider's Medical Center that you're most excited about?
Well, we're working on a lot of things that are very exciting. But I think that just to give a few examples, we just published that we are doing a research where newborn babies with neonatal jaundice that usually their welcome into the world is getting a lot of blood tests once every few hours. And we're working on this with an external startup on this ability to really just exchange all of these blood tests, all of this pain, parents going back and forth from home to the clinics with a simple app, taking a simple photograph of the baby's eyes, and detecting the level of bilirubin, which is how we detect jaundice in these babies. So there's just one example, but the point of having this whole new ecosystem of pediatric startups coming to the hospital, to our clinical field, and really accelerating their go-to-market, which in the market is the bedside, improving and pushing pediatric innovation and pediatric medicine forward. So we are very excited about this growing ecosystem and having more and more validation processes and research at Schneider's, and from them bringing them into the pediatric field.
So how do you balance ethics and innovation? Are there certain red lines where you also think, okay, we cannot even go there to test it out because it would be ethically wrong to do so?
Of course, primarily we're physicians, we're doctors, me included, and the first and the foremost thing in front of our eyes are the children. They're our compass. We're doing everything for their safety, for their benefit. So that's our primary goal. And every case, case by case, we look at the innovation that comes towards us. There is a very, notoriously very hard and complicated regulation when it comes to children, and it's good and important. But luckily at Schneider's, and that's one of our main advantages, that's our bread and butter. We host more than a few hundred research projects yearly, and they're all the clinical trials and all the research projects that we do are all in children. So this is our bread and butter. We are not afraid from this regulation. We know exactly how to navigate within it and make sure that the children are safe, but without, we continue pushing forward new technologies, new improvements, new treatments into the clinical field.
This field has developed quite a bit, I can imagine, over the past few years. So for the future, where do you think we're going?
So, Schneider's is the only pediatric standalone hospital in Israel. So maybe it's a bit strange coming from me, but hopefully in the future, pediatric hospitals would be smaller because children will be healthier as pediatric is going towards a more predictive, proactive phase. So we'll keep the children healthier. And also because we are able, and more so able, to keep the children at home where they belong, wearing wearables and monitored from afar, using both traditional equipment and leveraging AI for more automation and being able to control their safely at home where they can be with their families. So the hospital of tomorrow will probably be smaller, way more technology, and leveraging this amazing data that we have. Schneider is part of Clalit Health Services, and we have longitudinal data for 30 years from before birth to adulthood. And the new advances in AI allow us to really leverage that into the clinical field, into day-to-day medicine, creating it more proactive, predictive, and tailored.
So very briefly, because we're running out of time, but very briefly, do you really think that genetical diseases, for instance, can be eradicated amongst young children? So that at some point in this world, we wouldn't have diseases like this anymore?
So we already see it happening. There are already examples of genetic diseases being cured. I wouldn't say eradicated. That's a bit extreme. There's never black and white in medicine. But this is something that has already become a reality. And we are looking into companies doing various types of this genetic treatments, and the future looks bright.
Amazing. Dr. Shirley Saar, Head of Innovation at Schneider Children's Medical Center. Thank you very much for being with us today. Now, for decades, ultrasounds have meant appointments, waiting rooms, and long drives, especially in parts of the US, where basic prenatal care can be hours away. But now an Israeli company has created a device that is set to change that. And they've just been approved by the FDA in the US. Here's our Natasha Kurchak with the story.
I just want to see the legs and the arms. And it's like crazy.
This is Moore. She's 6.5 months pregnant, living in that mix of excitement and worry that every expecting mom knows. But today, she's trying something that could change all of that.
There is the head. Now I see the face.
This small handheld device is Pulsenmore, and it's just become the first at-home ultrasound to receive FDA approval in the US, meaning women like Moore can now perform an actual ultrasound from home. When you're at home and you can't see the baby, what do you usually wish you could see?
Every time I go to sleep, she's waking up. So that's the time that I really want to know what she's exactly doing. Like if she's okay.
Do you ever get nervous and wish that you could just see her?
Especially in the morning, asking myself, okay, when the kick is coming.
Moore's reaction is exactly what Pulsenmore says this device is built for: reassurance, accessibility, and equity. It works in 2 simple ways. You plug your phone in and connect to an app that can guide you step-by-step through the scan, or a doctor can watch the scan live and guide you remotely in real time. Getting this device FDA approved wasn't simple, but a major clinical trial across 4 top US hospitals showed something big. Regular pregnant women, not technicians, can perform accurate scans at home with the right guidance.
So, from time to time, a patient will come in 16 weeks. She's anxious because she doesn't feel the baby move. She comes in for an ultrasound. This is very important to give them this reassurance, but it's very time-consuming for the patient and for me.
Professor Eran Hadar is the chief of maternal fetal medicine at Rabin Medical Center in central Israel. And today, more than 2,000 of his patients are using Pulsenmore.
So we have a specialized dashboard to see The scans the patient did at home, she can scan whenever she likes. The scans are uploaded, and I can take a look at the scans she did and give her an interpretation about the findings. She can do up to 50 scans from 14 weeks until delivery. This patient, she uploaded her scan 22 minutes ago, and this is her 9th scan. Here we see a very nice baby with a heartbeat and a good amount of amniotic fluid. I see fetal movements.
You're going to send her a message on
Right, she'll get a text message. If I think something is abnormal, then I'll call her and I'll explain her what to do.
How does this impact your day-to-day?
I get a lot of patients who come in and say, I just need to know that everything is okay. And it takes me a minute to do the ultrasound. But if she does it at home, she doesn't have to travel. She doesn't have to find parking. She doesn't have to wait in line. And in the same minute, she will do it at home and I will see it.
And ultimately does clear up the hospital rooms in a certain sense, right? There's always a wait when you come here.
Right.
The impact of this device is set to change maternal medical care as we know it. In the U.S., about 35% of counties are considered medical deserts. This means that pregnant women often have to drive for hours just to receive basic medical care. About 20,000 patients have already used Pulsenmore across Israel, Brazil, Australia, and Europe. And with the new FDA approval, the device is set to roll out across the U.S. starting in 2026.
Our goal at Pulsenmore is just to make the home ultrasound available for every patient who wants it. The healthcare systems globally are really shifting towards hybrid care, and Pulsenmore can be a big part of it. Allowing for remote consultations with clinicians is really a game changer.
For expecting parents like Moore, the future is simple. She just saw her baby. Everything's okay, and she did it herself.
I can see actually the heartbeat.
If you had this at home, do you think you would use it a lot?
For sure.
And you wouldn't have to go to the doctors as often?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, AI isn't only reshaping how we travel or work, it's reshaping how life begins. Israeli company AIVF uses AI to help doctors evaluate embryos during IVF treatment. But when algorithms begin ranking potential life, where do we draw the line? So for more, I'm now joined by Daniela Gilboa, co-founder and CEO of AIVF. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, let's start from the beginning, because what is exactly the edge that you have over traditional IVF?
So traditional IVF means we evaluate embryos based on subjective human analysis. So under a microscope or on a computer, but we actually count cells, try to evaluate it based on our embryology, biology knowledge. What we do is we apply AI to evaluate embryos. So instead of having subjective human analysis, we can actually tell you what is the probability for every embryo, for each embryo, to become a successful pregnancy.
And how do you compare it to, like you just told me, the success rate? So what can you explain to us what the success rate is?
Exactly. So we increase success rates or pregnancy rates by up to 20%, which is, very significant. And if you look at it from the patient side, we reduce time to pregnancy. So according to CDC, it's about 3 to 4 cycles until success, because IVF today is not optimized. So it takes you about 3 to 4 cycles until pregnancy. And if you follow AIVF recommendations based on our software, then it takes you 1.6 cycles on average. This is significant. And when you want to talk about democratizing IVF and maybe even less money to pregnancy, this is an incredible solution.
And not only it operates here in Israel, but also worldwide.
Right.
Because apparently I just told everyone that IVF here is subsidized, but in a lot of countries it isn't, and it's very expensive.
Right, exactly.
So so let's talk about ethics for a second, because your AI, it doesn't choose embryos, but it ranks them.
Right.
So ethically, at what point does ranking become selection?
Well, you talk about embryo selection when you do IVF, but embryo selection without any AI solutions or without any tech. So it's done by the medical staff or the embryologists in the lab. So we're not, the AIVF or any other tech solution is not selecting embryos. It just empowers the physicians or the embryologists to make more informed decisions. So again, instead of a guesstimation kind of process, you have something that's much more data-driven and accurate. So you know exactly which embryo has the highest potential to succeed or to implant, and you have a number. So instead of saying, we think this is the one, or that's the one, like now it's an accurate number. You could say, you have, with this embryo, there's like about 90% chance of you becoming pregnant, or there's an 85% chance that the embryo is genetically normal or abnormal. So all of this with AI that's just trained on, massive data. So it must be better than any human being because of the data that it was trained.
And it's not, you're not selecting based on any traits.
We're not selecting traits. It's just helping the embryologist make more informed decision as to which embryo they choose to transfer back to the uterus. That's the $1 million question in IVF. Which embryo becomes a baby? And you don't have one embryo. Like optimization in IVF, it's not having one embryo, it's having maybe 5, 6, 10. So which one? This is the question, that the $1 million question. What we're trying to do is help you, get to this one and say choose this over this, but do it in a more informed way. This one aspect. The other aspect is, of course, the patient. Can we really help the patient understand the process? Be more, transparency here. Just imagine that you can log into your, iPhone and see your embryos, and log into the lab, see your embryos 24/7. Really understand the process. Be part of this really amazing, process that's called IVF. We think this is the way to do it in 2025. Is
but your product is still very much it's a support system for the doctors, for humans.
Exactly.
So where do you see? Because I can imagine that a lot of viewers back home also think that this can go wrong very quickly if we give the power to AI, for instance, when it comes to eye color, height, whatever.
Right. And this is a discussion that's now that's going on. We don't touch it. We don't do any traits. We only do probability of success. And this is the question that's being asked today in IVF. And yes, there are different solutions there are different aspects of, it's called polygenic scoring. We don't touch it. It's right now, a very kind of like grayish zone. But it's, I think, something that us as a community will have to discuss in the coming years.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out.
I agree.
Danielle Gilboa, co-founder and CEO of AIVF. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, we just touched upon it, because what if having your best baby wasn't just a metaphor? This American IVF company lets parents pick height, intelligence, eye color, and more, and it's not shy with advertising it. Nicole Tzedek reports.
What does it mean to have your best baby? Well, any new parent will say, I already do. But now some new advertisements on the New York subway metro station, they're telling you you can actually choose your best baby. Yes, it's called pickyourbaby.com. And they're basically promising new parents genetic testing on IVF embryos. It's a new fertility startup that's truly bringing up one of the most provocative debates all around the intersection of technology, reproduction, and ethics. The new startup, it's called Nucleus Genomics, and it's offering parents the ability to screen their embryos far beyond the traditional screening of polygenic scores, not just for hereditary diseases, but to actually look at traits that you can choose. Physical traits, height, eye color, even intelligence, the company claims. And so now parents might have the choice to choose between blue eyes or green eyes. Would you rather have a tall or a short child? How smart do you want your kids to be? This is all what this company is advertising, but it's raising some serious ethical dilemmas. Should people and parents be able to selectively breed such physical characteristics such as this? It also depends on the regulations on where you are. Even if this capabilities and this technology is available in the United States, where some of these rules and regulations are a little bit more relaxed, Europe and the UK, these rules and regulations are much more strict when it comes to genetic testing. And so they might not have the capabilities to have some of this selective breeding as we could soon see in the United States. Still, also, some are questioning the science behind this. If a company is promising you can have your baby with a certain intelligence score, how accurate is that truly? Because intelligence, it has 1,000 different genetic factors. It's not just who the mother and father truly is. It's also about how you're raised. And there's no long-term studies for this because the technology is so new. And so some people are also stating that if the babies selected actually end up experiencing or showing the traits that their family had picked for them. This is all something that is going to come in the future as we do see more of the studies behind this science and technology. But the ethics question, those still remain at large. If you can choose how your baby is going to physically appear in this world, should you be able to? Well, Nucleus Genomics certainly says the answer to that question is yes.
Incredible. We're all going to have superhumans one day. And one of these superhumans is our correspondent, Joe Brown,
Oh, that's
who
great.
is joining us for some viral tech news around the globe. And we're starting off because it's almost the holidays. It's Christmas. And there's one McDonald's ad that people are particularly not loving.
Exactly, people are not, in fact, loving it. So this is actually from your home country of the
best country,
Netherlands.
yes.
If you say so, maybe a great country, but a lot of people saying that the adverts aren't as great. Let's take a look and let's see if you can spot why.
It's the most terrible time of the year. All the shots turn to mayhem, even Santa mistakes, and the tree leader into your place. It's the most terrible time of the year. The roast turned to charcoal, and the cookies burn too. Freaking chaos, it feels like a zoo. It's the most terrible time of the year. So you bleed from the madness, the lights and the cheer, and hide out in McDonald's till January's here.
What is wrong with it?
What do you think of it? As our resident Dutchie, what do you think of it?
I think it's very Dutch. It's just very, we hate life, but then we kind of make a joke about it, like misery.
Well, there are two camps of people who don't like it. On the one hand, there are people who dislike the amount of generative AI that's being used in this instead of actors or visual effects people. They feel that this is an example of AI taking over human jobs. But on the other hand, people who may not be as opposed one way or another as to whether it's okay to use generative AI, they're annoyed by it because, in my opinion, I disagree with you, as do many people. It's not a very good advert. It lacks any direction, any comedic timing. It's just a mishmash of all different AI slop put together into one weird advert that doesn't make you want to go to McDonald's. It just makes me think, why did that woman get a massive load of snow on her face? How did that other woman survive when she got stuck in the tram, somehow going up a hill? They don't have hills in the Netherlands.
No,
Come on. No, this is an abomination of an advert. McDonald's pulled it because of the backlash. They said it's because they felt that people wanted more of a Christmas cheer. In reality, it was a bad advert. It was a misstep for McDonald's, and hopefully they will learn.
Okay, well, I won't argue with this one. So moving on, ChatGPT is under arrest. Why?
It might not be under arrest, but it's under investigation because of one man, Eric Stein Solberg. He is an American man, or was an American man, who was very active in using ChatGPT. He used it as a companion of sorts, and he was seemingly undergoing some severe mental issues. And he told ChatGPT about these issues. And this was in a time in which ChatGPT was tending to be more agreeable than it is right now. So it was feeding into his delusions. And he was telling him that he believes that his mum is trying to poison him. And ChatGPT was saying, yes, you're 100% right. So as a result, very tragically, he did kill his mother, and then he killed himself afterwards. So this opens up the question as to whether AI can be trusted in a sense for a companion. Would a real human, would a real friend tell you that? Maybe, most likely not. Whereas ChatGPT, its goal as a baseline-free application. Its goal is to keep you on there as long as possible. And to keep you on there as long as possible, it'll want to try and make you feel comfortable, make you feel like a friend. So by doing this has had a tragic outcome in a case which is quite preventable, and I did have a look just before I went on air to see if I could emulate these results. They seem to have changed. They seem to focus more on the well-being of the person asking the questions. I was trying to feed it some things to try and feed into my own delusions, in which I told them
so it didn't work.
It didn't work, no. I tried to convince it that my dad was the Liverpool midfielder Dominic Szoboszlai. It did not believe me on that one, and it's actually said that I should seek human help. So that was an interesting development, likely as a result of this.
Wow, okay, so we are not in danger today of getting killed by Joe Brown.
Not yet, not yet. Hopefully not ever. We'll see that.
Thank God.
We'll see how ChatGPT treats me.
Correspondent Joe Brown, thank you very much for joining. That's all we have time for today. I'm your host, Lim Plagmeijer. Thank you for watching, and happy holidays if you are celebrating. For now, have a very good night from Tel Aviv.